Hi, it's Winton Churchill, and I'd like to welcome you to our Freelance Friday, our live session every Friday at noon Central Time, where we talk about a variety of topics for baby boomer and 50 plus freelancers. You know, the world of freelancing is very different for those of us that are over 50, and so we'll talk about some of those ways that it is different and what you can do to be more productive, more efficient as somebody who wants to do freelancing. Um, we all know how wonderful it is that freelancing gives us lots of freedom. You know, we get to work wherever we want. A lot of times we can work on our own schedule. A lot of the work is what we would call asynchronous. You get the work and then you do the work, you know, independent of the person that assigned you the work, and then you get it all done and put together and deliver it, and then you get paid for it. So lots of good things happening when all those things come together. But one of the things that I see every week in our business, or I hear from somebody in one of our membership groups that somebody is uh, fatigued. You know, they feel like they're working too hard. They want to figure out a way to get back energy levels that they once had, or something closely approximating that. And uh, what I've learned over the 23 years now I've been freelancing is that there are certain things that do help you with all of that. And what I wanted to do is go through those today and talk about those. One of the things, and this is one of the biggest things, is hydration. It's funny, I'll be talking to somebody, coaching them on a call, and I can just hear their brain starts to drift from the topic matter. And it turns out that I'll say, you know, go get a drink of water or something. And usually something as simple as of that will clear up a lot of brain fog. So this idea of staying hydrated when you're uh, working is an important concept. And the rationale for that is that, you know, we have a circulation system. We have uh, blood going through it. We have lymphatic fluid going through it. And there's just been some very interesting research come out that talks about the solex muscle in your calf acts like the heart on lymph fluid, a similar way to where the heart works on blood. The difference is the solex muscle in your leg, sort of behind and below your calf, is not beating automatically like your heart is. And so there are certain exercises you can do. But if you look up the solex muscle and new research in Google, you'll see this new research report that shows that that's kind of an essential muscle for moving your lymphatic fluid throughout your body. So the idea of staying hydrated, because hydrated makes all those fluids easy to pump. I remember a few years ago, probably 10 years ago now, I was getting ready to go into a blood test, and you know, that's always a little dicey, especially when you haven't had a lot of blood tests in your life. Is, are they going to find the right spot, and is it going to go fast or slow? And I was asking the doctor about it, and he said, well, what you can do is you can't have any food or beverages or anything like that, anything with caloric value, but you certainly can have water before you go. And if you drink uh, a couple glasses of water, that's going to make your blood, it's going to bring more liquid into your blood, and it will be thinner and it will be easier to flow out through the, yes, it is an ouch, Bob, but yes, it'll be less traumatic, you know, than a blood test, because I don't know about you, but I've been, sometimes I go in there and it's just pop and it comes out and it's no big deal. And then other times, before I learned this little trick of hydrating, they might be digging around in there, and for 2 or 3 days afterwards, it looks like somebody beat on your arm, something like that. So hydration is a very important thing. I mean, it can be something that you do with a glass of water at your desk, and I do that because a lot of times I'm, talking like this on Zoom calls and that sort of thing. And sometimes my mouth gets a little dry, so always good to have a glass of water handy, but also good to get up and move around, which brings me to my number 2 point to recharging. And we talk a lot about this thing called the Pomodoro technique. And you can Google that, just Pomodoro technique. It was invented by a professor in Italy that saw that his students, were not studying properly for their exams. They'd be cramming on the last night. They'd be finishing term papers the day before they were due, that kind of thing. And he created this system for his students. I don't know, I want to say 20 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And it's very effective, just in personal productivity anyway. And it's been widely adopted by people in the technology world. And the idea of the Pomodoro technique is that you work for 20 to 25 minutes with intense focus. You don't check your email. You don't get up from your desk and go get a drink of water. You don't, look at your Facebook page or anything like that. You don't even look at your phone if you get a message on your phone. And for some of you that works, and for others, you have to be in, you might be taking care of somebody or something like that where you have to be in touch. So, but the idea is to just completely eliminate all distractions, we'll say, for 25 minutes. And then you can sit at your desk and you'd be amazed at how much you can get done if you're not flitting around from here to there. And I use the Pomodoro technique. It's my favorite technique for time management. But the part that's really important here is when those 25 minutes are up, or 20, whatever you select, you get up and you move around for 5 minutes. I mean, the Pomodoro technique says you take a 5-minute break. But what I found, it's very important to get up and move around. And as a matter of fact, I can even go down the stairs and walk around the block in 5 minutes. And that leaves me much more invigorated than obviously walking out to the kitchen and getting a drink of water. So understanding how this works throughout the day. Now, the Pomodoro technique envisions that you have 3 to 4 sessions a day. That's the maximum most of us can ever hit. So they recommend, I think, because I started this a long time ago, but starting out with just one Pomodoro a day. See what it's like to avoid distractions, and you'll have to make a little checklist, remember a few things. You want to turn off your phone so it's not beeping during those 25 minutes. You want to turn off your, if you have a little chime when your email comes in, you want to turn that off. You want to eliminate all distractions that you can so you can focus on a single thing. But by doing that focus and combining that with movement, the way our circulatory systems work at some level, whether it's the lymph system or the blood system or the way the kidneys work or the liver works, is we're always processing liquids and removing toxins and eliminating those. And when you get up and you move around, that's those systems sort of get a chance to operate at their peak efficiency. And particularly if you get up every 5 minutes and walk around the block, or every 25 minutes and then spend 5 minutes walking around the block or halfway around the block or whatever it is you do in that 5 minutes, because that's actually using this solex muscle that is so important apparently in circulating your lymph fluid up and down your legs, and as we age, that's a very important circulatory factor, because generally we tend not to move around as much as we age. I mean, it's just a statistical fact, but this is a very efficient way to move around, walking and exercising that muscle so that you don't have to, you know, you don't go all day or half a day without really creating that circulation so that you are able to move around effectively and get those toxins eliminated and get those fluids pushed to all the parts of the body and get that refreshed blood flow to the head and clarity of the brain. I mean, that's another thing the brain is doing all day long is, when we think, there's certain byproducts of thinking that are the body considers toxins, and the brain, when it's functioning properly, is always removing those toxins. So again, I've talked to people and I say, we're on a Zoom call, say, and I say, let's take a break. Let's take 10 minutes and you get up and you walk around the block or walk around the yard or do something like that for 5 minutes, and then let's sit back down here and we'll continue. And the clarity, the elimination of the brain fog that occurs under that is amazing. And so the Pomodoro technique envisions, once you're, this is like going to the gym, once you've kind of built up your strength, you would do 4 Pomodoros a day. So that's basically about 2 hours of work that's very focused, but you're taking breaks every 25 minutes. So it's not like you're just sitting in the chair grinding away on stuff. And then at the end of those 4 20, 25-minute sessions that with a 5-minute break, you take a 30-minute to 1 hour break. And these numbers are all variable. You can find the ones that work best for you. I know people that do Pomodoro and 45 minutes works the best for them. And that's what they use. And then they take a 10-minute break. So you want to play around with this and find out what works best for you. But then the extended breaks are also important. And those are the breaks where you go do something completely different. That you push away from the desk. That might be when you go and eat lunch, or you go run to the store, or you go do something that's completely different than the brain-focused cognitive work that you've been doing over the last couple hours. So this has yet another way of changing your visual field, changing the inputs you have, changing the way your brain has kind of habituated to the environment that you're in most of the time when you're at a desk. And so these techniques are so important for, just kind of keeping yourself more alert, more functional, less fatigued. And I noticed that if I sit in a chair at my desk, like I am right now for a long period of time, that I will get sort of muscle tension in my lower right back. And if I do this getting up every 20, 25 minutes during the day, I'll find that tension never occurs. Apparently, when we sit in a chair, we hold our body up in a certain way, and that causes certain muscles to be contracted. And as long as those muscles are being contracted and loosened and contracted and relaxed and contracted and relaxed, you don't get that kind of spasm that might occur with a back problem or something like this, which is not even close to a back spasm. It's not particularly painful, but it's just kind of a sensation, that you're feeling something different on one side rather than the other. So these are the kind of things that you really want to be cautious of. You don't want to ignore those. And so if you find that you have little aches and pains in a certain direction, I encourage you to jump on the Pomodoro technique and then try it out and notice how your body might feel different. And then do this walk around the block. And you don't have to do it every Pomodoro session. You might start out doing it with 1 out of the 4. But the idea, first day you start, you can get through 1 Pomodoro, that's fabulous. And one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they adopt this is I try to get through 3 or 4 on the first day. And there's just a lot of little habits you're going to have to change as you do this, like remembering to turn off your phone and turn off the alerts and turn off all the notifications and all the things likely to interrupt you. And then if you live in a house with other folks, does the door being closed signal that you're not to be disturbed except in an emergency? That might be another little wrinkle to put in there. And pretty soon, what's great is people get comfortable with leaving you messages. And I was just reading an article on dopamine, which is a brain chemical, something that we all have, and different things cause dopamine to be released. Things like checking our Facebook. We get a little buzz every time we look at a new message, and a little bit more dopamine gets released. But it can contribute to this brain fog thing. And so one of the things that you don't want to do in the Pomodoro environment, potentially, I mean, this will vary for everybody, but you don't want to spend every minute on your relaxing time looking at Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or something like that, because that's going to, through a different mechanism, go through and create more brain fog. So it doesn't give us the opportunity to not do the things that contribute to increased confusion, that kind of thing. So 3 main points: you want to recharge with hydration, you want to recharge with movement, and you want to do those extended breaks. Those are very important to put into the equation so you get all this done. And so if you have any questions about the Pomodoro technique or any things that we talked about today, or maybe unique situations that you might have in your environment that you're dealing with, that would be something that I'd be happy to answer that. Just put a little question in the chat there, whether you're on our YouTube channel right now or on a Facebook channel. Take a look, ask a question on our private Facebook group, and I'd be happy to answer that. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I wish you a great weekend, and we'll see you next week for Facebook Friday. Take care.